So this was quiz question number 1. Sketch the graph, include and label the asymptotes. Okay, what do we call this kind of function? It's an inverse variation, right? Because the x is in the denominator, right? It's a constant over x. That's the inverse variation. And we know that an inverse variation generally looks like that. And it has asymptotes on the x-axis, which is y equals 0, and on the y-axis, which is x equals 0. How is this graph changed because of the -4 in the denominator? Janice? Right 4, right? So we would take this whole graph and move it to the right 4, which means the asymptote is here. Okay, when it says, and this is, feedback for the quiz and preview for the test. If it says include and label the asymptote, then right here, where there's an asymptote, say x equals 4. Don't write it off to the side somewhere. Write it next to the thing. Because sometimes, it's confusing whether you know which one you're really talking about. So write it right there on the graph where it is. What is the -3 doing to the graph? Down 3. So it's going to take this asymptote and go down 3. 1, 2, 3. So what is the equation of that line? Y equals -3. Okay. Now, we're going to sketch the graph. Here, we sketched it in quadrant 1 and quadrant 3, right? Here, we're going to sketch it kind of in quadrant 1 and 3, but not based on the origin, but based on that being the middle of the graph, right? So it'll go like this, and like this. Some sketched it like this. You came down that asymptote and then you went above that axis. You didn't take it all the way down to the horizontal asymptote. Or over here, you went like this. But, you're using that like the middle of the graph. So just sketch it in quadrant 1. It's approaching both asymptotes. And in quadrant 3.